The Chinese military has accused an American-guided missile destroyer of intruding into Chinese territory waters near the Beijing-controlled Paracel Islands, saying the provocative act violated Chinese sovereignty. The People's Liberation Army Southern Theater Command, which oversees the South China Sea, said the USS Berry destroyer intruded into waters around the Paracel Islands without permission on Tuesday, prompting the command to scramble air and sea patrols to track, monitor, verify, identify and expel it. The warning came as Taiwanese media reported that the American vessel sailed through the Taiwan Strait twice in this month, followed both times by U.S warships. These provocative acts by the U.S. side have seriously violated China's sovereignty and security interests, deliberately increased regional security risks and could easily trigger an unexpected incident. A statement posted on the military unit's WeChat social media account quoted Li Huiman, a command spokesman, as saying, "The acts were incompatible with the current atmosphere as the international community is fighting pandemic as well as the regional peace and stability." The Paracel Islands, known as the Zhishan Islands in China and the Huangsay Archipelago in Vietnam, are a group of more than 30 islands in the South China Sea located between the coastlines of Vietnam and China. They are controlled by Beijing but also claimed by Taipei and Hanoi. In January, Li also lashed out at the U.S. for deliberate provocations during the Lunar New Year holiday after the USS Montgomery littoral combat ship passed by the Spratly Islands, also in the South China Sea. China claims almost all of the South China Sea, waters where Vietnam, Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines and Indonesia also have claims. Tensions in the region have worsened in the last month with the war of words between Beijing and Washington over the coronavirus pandemic. In the exchanges, U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper criticized Beijing of failing to share information about the pandemic, while Beijing accused Washington of dismissing China's efforts to control the contagion rather than joining forces to contain the pandemic. Both sides have increased their military presence in the Taiwan Strait, as well as the South and East China Seas. On April 22nd, the Yokosuka-based USS Berry transited the Taiwan Strait before heading to the South China Sea. A day later, the PLUS aircraft carrier, the Liaoning, led its strike group through the strait. The Chinese military has warned a U.S. warship to leave after it illegally entered the disputed waters in the South China Sea. Senior Colonel Li Huiman, a spokesman for the Southern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army, said on Tuesday that the warship entered the territorial waters off the Zhishan Islands in the South China Sea without China's permission. The spokesman said the command deployed air and navy forces to monitor and verify the ship, and warned it to leave. The U.S. move has severely violated the relevant international law and was a serious infringement of China's sovereignty, Li said, calling on us to stop military operations that are not conducive to regional security and peace and stability. The South China Sea serves as a gateway to global sea routes, through which about $3.4 trillion of trade passes each year. Vietnam, Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei have overlapping claims with China to parts of the sea. The United States, which sides with Beijing's rivals in the maritime dispute, routinely sends warships and warplanes to the South China Sea to assert what it calls its right to freedom of navigation, ratcheting up tensions among the regional countries. Last Saturday, Washington accused Beijing of bullying behavior in the South China Sea and said it is concerned by the country's provocative actions aimed at offshore oil and gas developments in the disputed waters. A day earlier, a Chinese government survey ship was tagging an exploration vessel operated by Malaysia's state oil company Petronas in the disputed waters, Reuters reported, quoting 3 regional security sources. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman said the ship was conducting normal activities and stated that US officials were maligning Beijing. The U.S. deliberately increases regional security risks and can easily trigger unexpected incidents. The action is not in accordance with the current atmosphere because the international community is fighting a pandemic and regional peace and stability. This Chinese statement came after Taiwan media reported sailing the U.S. warship, USS Berry based in Japan's Yokosuka, in the Taiwan Strait twice this April. The day after, the Chinese military aircraft carrier Liaoning also passed through the area. The Paracel Islands are known as Zisha Islands by China. There are more than 30 islands stretching between the coastlines of Vietnam and China. Even so, this island is also claimed by Vietnam as the Hoang Sa Islands. Paracel is also claimed by Taiwan. Almost all areas of the South China Sea are claimed by China. This makes a number of ASEAN countries tense. The US itself has not yet confirmed this Chinese military statement. Meanwhile, previously, 3 US and Australian warships entered the Malaysian region in the South China Sea. As reported by Reuters, USS America, USS Bunker Hills, USS Berry and Australian HMAS Parramatta were monitoring the area when a Chinese ship entered the Petronas oil exploration area.